It is December 19th, 2018. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Justin LaBar and Nick Hausman. Today, we talk SmackDown Live in the new era. Oh my God. Nick, are you excited?
I actually am far more despondent because of the new era that happened on Monday night. Actually, SmackDown was, there was definitely things that I'm excited to talk about here today, but Monday night did not exactly grab me. No, the new era did not hook me on Monday night.
Justin, how about you? How has your life changed for the better since we've been living in the new era and the WWE has hurt us, the fans?
Well, that burning sensation between my toes has gone away.
There's that.
No, I'm rather confused. So I'm trying to wrap my head around. So the family and people that have the majority share of the company and whose families had that company for like 50 plus years, they're taking back their company?
Yeah. Yes, because everything that was wrong can be blamed on Baron Corbin and SmackDown general manager Paige.
You know what this kind of reminds me of is you guys know those Domino's commercials where they're like, we get it. Our pizza sucks. We're going to get rid of the old dough. We're going to blow up our old stupid cars that didn't have ovens in them. This is like the Domino's rebrand in many ways, I feel like.
Except Domino's new pizza was actually a significant improvement. I mean, it's still Domino's.
Oh, dude, yeah. Domino's pizza's good. And I'm not just trying to get that sponsorship, but they're great. Their sandwiches are good, or what Domino's considers to be a sandwich, I think is very good.
If you drop your carryout pizza, they're going to replace it for you.
Or if you get into a pothole, they'll fix potholes. That's what WWE should do. We will come and we will fix your neighborhood. We will turn your schools around. Please watch our product.
Yeah, and if you don't like the outcome of a match, we'll send the wrestler over to your house.
Yeah, it's good. In your house. Bring that back. That's the
I do feel more. I mean, I have to say, I do feel I'm walking a bit taller. I'm walking with a little bit more of a cocky swag, knowing that I am now the authority for Raw and SmackDown.
That's true. Here's what it reminds me of. And here's my elaborate conspiracy theory about why on SmackDown they're like, we need to change SmackDown too. It's been bad. Do you guys ever try and convince perhaps a significant other, perhaps a boss that you've worked for, or perhaps even just a friend? There's something that they need to change, but you're afraid it's going to come across a little antagonistic. If you're like, hey, you need to work on this. So instead, let me pull one out that I used this year on a friend of mine where I said, hey, I've always wanted to work on my public speaking. Let's go to Toastmasters together. I had this elaborate manipulative scheme because he needed to work on his public speaking skills. And it would cause a huge fight if I was just like, dude, you need to change. So instead, someone went to Vince like, hey, creative is a problem. I mean, SmackDown, God, a lot of problems there. Raw could use to improve too, but SmackDown, let's just say we need to fix everything across the board, Vince. And please don't yell at me.
I definitely, I don't know exactly where that, I kind of lost you halfway there, but I'm with you in the sense that SmackDown did not need the rehaul. SmackDown's been fine. It felt weird having Shane out there on Monday night where he was like, yeah, SmackDown's going to change too. And everyone's like, oh, no, it's just him. He needs Toastmasters. It's Raw that needs Toastmasters, not SmackDown.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. They threw SmackDown as a sacrificial lamb to get Raw to change.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But in some ways, I mean, SmackDown was already good. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about it, but there were definitely parts of SmackDown, i.e. the main event, that I thought were just like a step even further in the right direction for the blue brand.
Sure. But to open with that news, Justin, where they're like, and former, they said right from the beginning where it kind of slipped by. I was like, did they just say formal or formal? Former general manager Paige. Like, what? What's going on here?
She might be the one that loses the most in all of this. I think a lot of people felt that she was one of the better authority figures they've had just by the way that she was, just by the way she could handle things, the way she was written to handle things. The opening to SmackDown, I'll say this. I like the fact that it was different than Raw. I like, I'm still not crazy about having all the heels and faces together, but I guess it was better doing it in a backstage setting versus having them all come out to the entranceway. I think we've all agreed they've overdone that. That needs to be reserved for like very, very special moments. So I like the fact that it started somewhat differently. It wasn't the same, okay, let's have McMahon's come out to the ring. The weird thing about it was, so now that all the McMahons are taking back their shows and they've gotten rid of the other authority figures, they've gotten rid of Corbin, they've gotten rid of Paige. It's almost like in a way they're almost in a way doing away with the brand competition of separate authority figures to lead the charge of these brands. But yet, as Shane McMahon talks about, he said the words Monday Night Raw, and the entire SmackDown roster boos. So it's like they're still having like this brand competition, but it's all the same people, the McMahons, running them. That's just odd to me.
It's almost as if this initiative was hastily thrown together in about a week's time.
Yeah, and I kind of got that vibe too from the opening on Monday Night Raw, where they pinned everything on Baron Corbin. They got rid of Corbin, and everything should be better now, right? You all hate Baron Corbin. We got rid of him. Now you should be enjoying the show. I don't know that is exactly the message the fans are trying to send to the McMahons with their tweets and such. Did seem a little bit like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we went from that segment backstage to out in the ring. Becky Lynch comes out talking about her loss to TLC. Charlotte comes out, and the new SmackDown Live Women's Champ Asuka comes out. And if you think, God, SmackDown Women's Division has been so good, but you know what would make it even better? One Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He decides to come out and get in the mix. And basically says, stop whining, stop complaining. This is beneath you. Move forward, and let's have a title match right now. Naomi versus Asuka.
I didn't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I didn't mind Vince coming out, and I like the fact that it was a little bit of a surprise. I like the fact that they advertised Vince to be at SmackDown, and if they are gonna supposedly do this whole retool of everything, it would have looked weird. It would have looked more of the favoritism that we all think we know, which is Vince loves Raw and SmackDown's a little bit of an afterthought. So I mean, it was kind of nice. It kind of gave a little bit of a rub, I guess, that Vince at least cared enough to make an on-screen appearance on SmackDown. It's not like he does that commonly in the history. And I will say, when he came out, I got to the edge of my seat, not just because it's Vince, but because I'm like, all right, Becky Lynch who walks out. Well, Becky Lynch out there saying, I don't care who runs Raw or who runs SmackDown. I run SmackDown. I'm the man. We've talked about the anti hero kind of, Stone Cold-esque, that Becky has. So when I see Vince coming out and Vince kind of challenging her, kind of like, get over it, I was like, oh, my ears are perked here. The powerful Vince and the rebellious Becky Lynch. And then it just they just didn't really follow through with it. Not to say they won't follow through with it later, but the segment kind of dipped down in my excitement after I realized Vince wasn't going to do anything more than just say, get over it.
So is Shane not going to be a bad guy anymore? I don't know. Like, it seems like they're trying to baby the McMahons. I don't know if they're going to try to turn them all at once. I did think back to the top where they fired Paige as the GM. I thought the reason they did it backstage was just because they knew that would get booed in front of a live crowd. I don't know that it had anything to do with aesthetic. I agree. Like, it's better than putting them all at the top of the ramp. But I think if they thought they could have got away with it without everybody crapping on them, they probably wouldn't have done it, or they probably would have done it. I think that, this was, I agree. I love the chemistry here with Vince. I think there was a moment halfway through where the women kind of realized, oh, wait, we have this opportunity, and I could see their chest puff up a little bit. It didn't seem to really manifest at anything, but I definitely get the vibe here that, are the McMahons, are they all good guys now? Like, I think that if Shane was a bad guy, he should have just fired Paige in the middle of the ring to start the show. He did it backstage. I don't know if that's maybe a sign that they're going to reverse direction a bit.
Well, Annie said we're gonna have a new role for her, whatever that means. Is she gonna be like the his personal secretary? Like, but she can't wrestle. So like, what's the? I don't know. Like,
nothing says babyface. Like, hey, I'm gonna make a beloved figure my personal secretary, right? That's
right.
Yeah,
right. I mean, they got to keep her around, right? They got to promote the movie with The Rock. So
maybe she can commentate. Renee's good on commentary. Maybe Paige will be on commentary for SmackDown.
I would be opposed to that.
Yeah. I don't know. This was just a weird opening because I think the women's, the three women in the ring, people were obviously there to see. People wanted to hear from more, and have Vince come out and just sort of like, the Sandman on the Apollo, move things along with that broom and say, hey, let's have a title match. I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten more out of this.
I mean, big picture. Can we all agree that this, it can't stay like this forever, right? So I mean, like, at some point, and obviously, again, when you alluded to it, they quickly put this together, so they weren't going to do anything too drastic this past week. They can try to maybe now set the pieces for long term. But I mean, can we all agree this has to, at some point, they're having all this now influx of NXT people come now here quickly. Michael Cole even says when Triple H comes out, he's the brainchild behind, the mastermind behind NXT. Like, this has to result in like some clash, right? And the obvious clash is Vince and Triple H. I mean, that they can't all just stay babyface. Hey, we're going to give all of you guys all this great change, right? I mean, this has to. That's the result, right? Big picture.
I genuinely don't know where this is going, Justin. If there had been a stronger hook for me on Monday night, then yeah, I think I could have waxed about where this is going. But I genuinely don't know. It kind of just feels to me like, oh, things are bad. Well, maybe if we put the McMahons in charge of everything again, that always seems to work. And rather than giving it the thought that I feel like it has in the past, is really just on the surface, that's just about it. And, this led to Vince bringing Naomi back out here to face Asuka. We saw Tyler Breeze on Monday Night Raw. I get it. Let's get some fresh blood in the mix. But not that Naomi has been fairly protected, but Tyler Breeze has been a joke. You're trying to take these guys, the Revival, that have been treated like jokes, that haven't been taken seriously. And now you're trying to say, oh, well, we messed up. Here's what you really love. And you're getting like a banged up can of soup. You're not getting the fresh thing off the shelf,
Yeah. Now, if Nikki Cross had come out, challenge Asuka,
sure,
that would have been fresh.
Now, those 6 aren't all coming to Raw, right? It's just to WWE now. So
that's correct.
Nikki Cross could conceivably wind up on SmackDown, right?
She could.
Yeah.
No, I would have liked to have seen last night open with almost a mutiny, and then with Shane being like, no, we had to pretend SmackDown was bad to get Raw to change. But I would like to see Paige, even Road Dogg out there being, whipping up the crowd, being like, SmackDown, we're doing something right. I don't know, just having Vince come out and
that goes back to your point, though, Glenn. Like, yeah. I agree. I completely agree with you, but they're not going to do that because maybe it'll hurt Vince's feelings.
Exactly.
Got to book that Toastmaster class. Your metaphor is making more sense now.
Yeah. This was an elaborate ruse to be like, yeah, we're going to fix SmackDown too, guys. Because Naomi, they brought her. Naomi has been the women's champ. Naomi was tag teaming with Asuka. Naomi has not suffered the way Tyler Breeze has. She is, I wouldn't call her even an overlooked talent. It was cool to see this match, but this wasn't a huge surprise.
But the women have been treated so much better than the men in a lot of respects. And the fact that we haven't seen Naomi in the title picture in a while doesn't mean that she's banged up and battered goods like Tyler Breeze. And I would say the Revival to a degree. Because, yeah, the last time we saw her, she was competitive. Then she was gone for a little bit. And now she's back. That's how it's supposed to be, right? You keep everybody hot, and some people are in the back burner, some are in the main event. That's good booking,
Yeah. I mean, we might be overthinking the choice of why it was Naomi. I mean, simply it could just be Naomi was teamed with Asuka there for a minute, and we all were just kind of like, okay. And then all of a sudden now Asuka's back into prominence being the champion. So it might have just been the natural, hey, let's have the 2 former partners, even if it was short-lived.
Sure.
And it's a fresh singles matchup. I don't think we need to overthink it that much more. Like, okay, what other woman should they have brought out there to make it fresh? But
well, I mean, let me put out this thought where I think with Naomi, especially now that we are in a little bit of a lull before they start to build up to the Royal Rumble, I actually think there could have been a story that they would have done with this match, even to have Naomi and Asuka. Naomi to be like, hey, former partner, how about you give me a shot now? And just build something a little more from them. I actually think there was some potential here for this, and it was sort of just thrown away last night. Whereas maybe they could have gotten a little more out of this had they developed it with at least some sort of bookend.
Yeah, Naomi is, she's the first level boss here on the road to WrestleMania. You didn't want to get right back in there with Charlotte or Becky. You had to have somebody go out there, and they want Asuka to be a fighting champion. Naomi's credible competition. This was a credible win. It builds credibility for Asuka. Naomi's not really supposed to be the focus here. It does seem like, this was about keeping the 3, Asuka, Charlotte, and Becky hot. And Naomi held her own with the champion, remains viable competition, and should be able to find hopefully something more personal down the card with another female wrestler that she can be doing going into WrestleMania.
And she resisted the Asuka lock a few times before succumbing to it, which is, good on her. But ultimately she did tap out to the Asuka lock. This won a couple segments, and then backstage, if you thought Vince's role was over, oh no, because the Miz knocks on the dressing room door labeled the McMahon family and asks for Vince's blessing to make Shane his partner.
Yeah.
Isn't that just such a Mr. McMahon thing to say? I've never granted a blessing in my life. It's just such a Vince, like, I've never granted,
He really hates God. I mean, I've gathered that. Like, Vince McMahon has a disdain for God. I mean, he's beat him in the ring. He didn't say Merry Christmas at the top of the show. He said happy holidays, right?
Ooh.
He doesn't believe in blessings here.
Guys, this is why Vince hates sneezing. He never wants people to say bless you.
Well, when you wonder about like what's going on with booking and stuff, understand you are dealing with an older man who is
Older man, a 72-year-old man,
Who
showing all of those 72 years last night.
who has a disdain for God, and like that is like really an interesting mental place to be when you're writing for like children and teenagers. You know, I don't know.
I do like to play on like the Miz basically acting like a man wanting to marry Shane. Like I do love the parody of asking for a blessing so I can have like this marriage to your son, give your son away to me a sense. I did find that funny.
This makes sense now because we're doing it's Vince McMahon's 1950s style courting storyline, right? Like we're gonna have you win my son over like we did in my day, right?
You know, I put this idea out there months ago about what they could do with Daniel Bryan, and this just occurred to me, notwithstanding the spoilers from the Christmas episode they taped last night, maybe this ultimately leads to The Miz being the GM of SmackDown. What better way to put him in a WrestleMania-worthy feud with Daniel Bryan?
Yeah. I mean, it would. I don't know that that's the right. I don't know. I feel like they're doing a good job of keeping him and Bryan apart to the point that I don't know if they are going to intersect at Mania. This seems to be largely Miz and the McMahon stuff, and you know, I don't know what they're doing with the McMahons in charge right now, but Miz like trying to get into that family relationship. It's a weird subplot, and I don't see it. I mean, it does seem like they're kind of shooting them off in different directions than Bryan. To me, I don't see it right now.
Yeah. Well, I think he has to get there before you come back around to it. But I think The Miz would be an excellent GM.
Sure.
You know, and that's the way you keep him relevant in this. So, yeah, he wants the blessing. He wants to be Shane's partner, his tag team partner. And Vince said he was going to set up a match for later that night if The Miz wins that with his mystery partner. That, yeah, you know, things will move forward with the storyline. Kayla Braxton backstage with Rusev and Lana and setting up the feud or setting up the match, the title match that's going to happen on the Christmas edition of SmackDown. Rusev battling Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. And yeah, you know, I like how they built this up. I like him showing the photo of Shinsuke, the Sonic the Hedgehog dig. I think it was great. Shinsuke's rebuttal later in the night. But what did you think of this, Justin?
Well, this promo, given the promo the time they did and letting Rusev really do his comedy chops, and then even Nakamura's response later, where Nakamura was, you know, making fun of Rusev, but in the WWE's, true mindset, they were showcasing Rusev and how entertaining he can be on the reality show. This right here screams more of what I think Nick said, you know, earlier. What I think we all recognize here, which is, you know, okay, the McMahon's trying to take the show back. Okay, everybody that you guys have wanted that we haven't given you enough of, we're going to all of a sudden push it right at you. Everybody's wanted Rusev and Lana, so now we're going to give them a longer backstage promo where they get to be funny and charming, and then we're going to showcase how funny and charming and good looking they are on this reality show. Like, you know, never mind getting into next week's Christmas episode. This right here to scream more of, okay, we're going to, you know, you guys didn't know better. You kept chanting for Rusev Day, and we were telling you it wasn't time. Oh, now it's time for Rusev Day. It's like, here we go. But the true measurement of this whole thing, again, big picture, true measurement is let's see how long they go with it. If in 2 months from now we're still doing a weekly podcast and going, you know, we're still seeing an attempt at fresh matchups. They are pushing new people and keeping it diverse. Then we can go back and say, okay, maybe they did take it seriously. If in 2 months from now we're like, all right, it's back to the same old, then, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. The only difference with Rusev is I feel like unlike Tyler Breeze, the Revival, to a lesser extent Naomi, Rusev has maintained his popularity. You know, this isn't a guy who's battered goods, in my opinion. This is a guy who's, you know, weathered the storm. And if this is the time to put some wind behind his sails, and they really are serious about it, of the people we've seen get this renewed push, I bet on Rusev to come out on top.
And I completely agree with that, Nick. You're right. He's not the battered goods that some of the other talents could be categorized, which to me, in some ways, even funnier to me, because it's like, you know, I could see WWE's mindset being, oh, well, you know, Tyler Breeze, he's, he's kind of fallen over here, and the Rival, they kind of fallen here. But it's like, no, Rusev has maintained popularity. The merchandise sells. why did it take to this point for you to have to push him? Again, happy that he's being pushed, but to me, it's just kind of comical with that regard.
You know who's really gotten screwed in all this is Aiden English. I feel like Aiden English needs to get back on the Rusev Day bandwagon.
I don't know what Aiden's. I feel like we're going to see Aiden pop up in NXT doing something in 2019.
Lord knows NXT needs people because Vince is pillaging.
Well,
what do you think Triple H is feeling like? What do you think Triple H is feeling like whenever they decided to do all this in the past 5 days or 7 days? And Vince says, "Okay, we're going to quickly. Never mind, just Lars Sullivan. We're going to grab these other people and we're going to bring them up now because we need to spice things up." I mean, imagine Triple H going, "Well, all right, well, that really f's with my plans."
Well, I don't know because EC3 wasn't like there are guys that other than Lars, but EC3 wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, this is kind of like the BB plus of NXT. They didn't poach Ricochet, Velveteen, Adam Cole, Dakota Kai, even Shayna.
I agree. Well, this was not the top. This was not scraping off the top.
Yeah,
well, it's still talent. It's still talent that has to be replenished. But
they've got plenty. They're just manufacturing them down there in Florida.
Build them.
Yeah, seriously. So we go out to the ring. Jeff Hardy's out there rebutting Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe talking about his demons. Jeff acknowledging what he's done wrong, tries to do better. Joe comes out to the ring, wants to apologize face to face. Joe's sorry because, of course, there is no apology. Shocking. Hardy basically calls him a loser who's never held a title in the WWE. And turn to fisticuffs. The feud continues. I like Jeff Hardy without makeup. I thought that was kind of poignant.
It's needed. If you're gonna do this, he's got to be a real person. I mean, as much as Jeff Hardy can be an actual human being, that's what we need here. It's just not for me. I don't dig it. I don't like this kind of stuff, and I felt the same way after watching this last night.
I like Jeff. I like him taking the shot of Samoa Joe. You haven't had any titles. That's of course going to get the ooh and ah reaction it did, and it is obviously a fact. After all these years, after how many? It's been at least 2 decades. This has been in the wrestling vocabulary. Can we find some other word than demons to encompass a wrestler's personal issues? I don't know. I think we've reinvented so many things. They've evolved so many things in the world of pro wrestling and WWE specifically. Can we find a new word from demons?
Well, just call it out. You like meth, right? I mean,
Jesus. We do. It wasn't. No, that's not factually.
Well, I mean, it's wrestling. What's blur reality and fiction here? I don't know. I agree. Let's not beat around the bush. You got to, friend.
I wasn't off smoking crack.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the kids? What are the younger kids like? I mean, I don't know because my kids aren't old enough yet for me to have this interaction with them. But like, what are like the 10 and 12-year-old kids watching who obviously is a target demo for WWE? What do they turn to their parents and go like demons? Like, because I mean, like in what other context have they heard demons? Like, I mean, the Bible? I don't know. Like, what do they think of when they hear demons?
Kane and Finn Balor.
I agree.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I agree. I found a 5th of whiskey in your bag, Jeff. You're not sober. You have a problem, right?
Yes. You told me these bath salts were for your spa day.
Bath salts. Yes.
All I'm saying is that in the summer of 1996, when I was 9 years old, I would have probably had a harder time understanding what the hell demons Jerry the King Lawler was talking about, Jake the Snake Roberts. I didn't have to do all that interpretation. I saw Jerry the King Lawler pull out a bottle that I'd seen in my dad's cabinet, which was Jack Daniels. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's a drinking problem. It made sense. The demons, I don't know. Like,
maybe that's what they should say. You're an alcoholic. Is that more direct? Like you have a substance abuse issue?
Actually, God, that would have been. Could you imagine if Samoa Joe was out there with like pamphlets for rehab, and it was just like the company will pay for it, Jeff. We've got a van waiting outside. Well, I called your family. They packed a bag.
Well, obviously, the reason Vince doesn't offer these guys like AA and rehab is because he doesn't believe in God. And like the first step in rehab is like you have to like admit that like you're putting your life in God's hands and that you are not in control.
Please, it's just a higher power. They've changed it to a higher power.
Okay,
something greater than yourself.
Well, then you have to put your faith in Vince McMahon because he is the higher power. That's an actual fact.
Oh, God, can you imagine if Vince was like, I'm going to run the meeting. Okay, everybody. Oh, good Lord. They need some new words there. How many times do we keep hearing changing the complexion of this match? You know, I mean, they just keep leaning on the same antiquated terms again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Man. So, R-Truth and Carmella versus The Miz and Mandy Rose. Now, The Miz saved Mandy Rose from getting eliminated on Tough Enough the season she was on. I kind of like that. Kind of like that little callback.
Which I think you're the only. Which I saw your tweet, Glenn. I think you're probably the only person that remembered that.
He gave like a big defense of her. At the time, she's everything a diva should be in the WWE. Actually, it's funny considering how he met Maurice and courted her. It's actually kind of a little weird when you think back the parallels.
And considering how much they look alike.
Yeah, how much they look alike, and now they're teaming together.
On that note, you kind of get the vibe that like maybe they would do like a cheating angle with Miz and Mandy.
No, because of Miz and Mrs. They won't. I don't think they'll touch it. I think they'll have Maurice giving him a hard time on an episode of Miz and Mrs. about it, and maybe something backstage. But I don't think they would seriously ever insinuate that.
So the Miz commits adultery, and that's now going to be classified as his demon.
Oh yeah, you have a problem keeping it out of people, Miz. How about that? Is that a better way to put it?
Yeah, you back in the day with what was her name, Trishelle or whatever from the Real World that he hooked up with.
I can see the point about Miz and Miz, but at the same time, they love doing stuff on those shows. Like I'm sure this season of Total Bellas, we're gonna get the segment like on the first episode where Daniel Bryan sits down and he's like, "I'm a heel now. Here's what a heel is," and he like explains to women drinking their white wine what it is to be a bad guy professional wrestler. And I could see Miz and Maurice, and maybe Maurice is like, "Well, I don't like the story they have you in right now." That's just kind of the way they handle it on those shows. Fascinating. You guys should watch it.
What's that?
No, I was gonna say Nick's right. I mean, at one point, this is several years ago. I mean, they hinted at when Nikki and John were at their height, they teased at Dolph Ziggler trying to court Nikki again.
That's right. That's right. And that was on the show.
That was on the show. I mean, like, and they alluded to the fact that Dolph Ziggler, or Nick, as Nikki refers to him, like that him and her before her and John, like they had some like type of a fling or relationship. So I mean, yeah, I mean Nick's not wrong. They don't shy away with stirring the pot a little bit. I mean, even with Rusev and Lana, I think they've even poked a little bit at like other people going after Lana.
Yeah, there was a bar episode, right, or something where like Lana danced with a dude or something, and Rusev got really upset about it and was like, he's very traditional. I remember that. Yeah.
See, I thought between that and then Lana luring Enzo and then Lana and Aiden, I was like, oh, that's the little game that gets Rusev going. That he's got to, beat up the guy that's trying to take his woman, and then they make passionate love.
That you just described total divas. You should write for them. You should be a producer.
Could you imagine? Like, good news, buddy. You got a job writing for the WWE. Oh, is it NXT? Is it Raw? Dare I say, is it SmackDown? No, dude. Total divas.
Man, there's some real, like, we watch 90 Day Fiance, and like the people that like produce those shows are just evil people. The other one that's good too is My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. What awful producers. Those people will do anything.
One of the craziest things I've ever heard, and we brought him into Pittsburgh several years ago, and he appeared on Chair Shot Reality. Jason Carrion, who's a New York City firefighter, he's also an independent professional wrestler, and he's gotten famous for he was on and now it's slipping on. It's where you go when you meet the bride for the first time at the altar, and then you like figure out and then you guys get married, and then you figure
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. Thank you. And so I met him and his wife, and they're still together. And like when he told me about like the behind the scenes stuff, talk about like just talk about basically letting somebody basically rent your life. Essentially, it's
they're mean. They're mean people. They're evil people.
Yes,
I shouldn't say they're evil, but they're mean.
I can't see Glenn being that evil.
I did get excited that Temptation Island is coming back.
I was very close to being a part of Billy Corgan was going to do a reality show on AMC before AMC abandoned all the reality programming because that Fifth and Loud show by Kiss was a miserable failure. But they were going to bring me in to like break up what was it? Billy wanted me. He didn't like the people that were running the company, like legitimately in real life. And he wanted me to come in and like, as a young guy, take over the company and really piss off the people that he had employed to run his wrestling company. It was interesting hearing that pitch. I was like, wow, you guys make me the bad guy here. All right, I'm okay with that.
Well, the world is a vampire.
Was Fifth and was Fifth and Lau and Kiss when they were trying to get the arena football team in LA?
Yes,
it was. Yeah,
I actually watched it, and enjoyed it. You know who was one of the producers and writers on that in the wrestling business? Krista Joseph.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
It may have been why Billy was on that, because he filmed. There was like 3 episodes of the Billy Corgan pro wrestling pilot film for AMC. I have no idea where they are, but it's out there.
I wonder too that I was with the pilot with Matt Hardy and Bruce Pritchard, where they were going to do like a bar rescue, but it was going to be for wrestling, and Bruce Pritchard was going to be the John Taffer, and where like they would go to bad indies, and then they would like get him like a new ring, and they would get him like better lighting. And I was at a pilot that they did with Matt, was like the feature wrestler they brought in to help shine up the bar, the metaphor of the wrestling company, and again Pritchard was the Taffer, and I keep asking like, does anybody know what the hell happened? And nobody can answer where it lives. So.
Wow. I want to watch that show.
It would be kind of interesting now to have a show that focused on different indie wrestlers who aren't doing ROH or TNA. I mean, like the real indie leagues,
The other day, an episode of Maury was my boyfriend's a wrestler and he's cheating on me with ring rats.
I saw that. I'm so glad you brought that up. I thought the same thing. Yeah, that was great.
I wonder if those wrestlers, after they got off that show, I wonder if their 8x10s of their gimmick table was like screenshots of them on Maury with, the results are in.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyhow, back to SmackDown. R-Truth and Carmella, of course, won the Mixed Match Challenge. They're going on an all-expense-paid trip to WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and will be number 30 in the respective Royal Rumbles. Yeah, the Miz and Mandy Rose won this in short order. Skull-crushing finale to Truth for the win. I thought it was notable the other night that Carmella was rapping with R-Truth. Normally, you get the "What's Up" roll, but they were like trading rhymes back and forth.
I would guess if Carmella is willing to play and has ideas, Ron Killings has always been very giving of his character, his personality to whoever he's working with. I think these two are having a lot of fun. I love these two together. I think Carmella as the number 30 in the Women's Rumble is fine. It's just like when she carried Money in the Bank. With Truth, I'm fine with him doing this right now. I don't know where they're going, but if you're going to have him be the number 30, I do think there's a story to tell about Ron Killings trying to take one more shot at a world title. I mean, this is a former NWA World Champion. He's been in the business over 30 years. He still looks great. He can still go. I would like to hear that story. I'd like to see that story play out.
I think he deserves another run, a final run perhaps. But look, this guy's always been over, and he's always been legitimate. I mean, he can do comedy when they need him to do comedy, but when they need someone who can actually go, he doesn't just hold his own, he shines.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fantastic. First ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best in the business that we've ever seen. And he has really carried the WWE in the sense that he could just do whatever they need of him. He's one of the few guys you can always just throw in there, get a good crowd reaction, get a good match. Yeah. Love R-Truth.
Yeah, and that's why I say give him a chance to strip it down. Let him tell his story.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Miz and Mandy Rose won that match. We will see what happens next week in the saga of Shane and the Miz and their courtship to becoming partners. Got a little series of vignettes about the coming soon from NXT. Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, EC3, Nikki Cross, and Heavy Machinery, Tucker Knight, and Otis Dozovic. We don't know which brand everyone will land on. Heavy Machinery tweeted something about coming to Tuesdays. So maybe they are SmackDown bound.
Maybe they were just confused because they don't know what's going on and saw the promo air on SmackDown.
Can you imagine? Well, at least one person had to have found out from the promo.
Well, and it's kind of interesting too that because I do think that on Raw they said they were coming to Raw, and I could be wrong, but I kind of remember them saying, maybe this is the Bernstein Bears effect. I remember them saying on Raw they were coming to Raw. Now it's WWE. Do you think they're maybe thinking of ending the brand split? I mean, if they're kind of just like, oh, these guys are coming up, maybe they don't know where they want them to go. Maybe they're thinking it's time to consolidate powers again, get all the best on one roster, and go back that route. I don't know.
God forbid that happens.
I think they have so much talent. I don't know how you can merge back again, because then you're just going to end up putting, Dan O'Brien's going to be appearing heavily on both shows. All your top guys, all your top guys and girls are going to appear on both. I mean, you're just going to, I don't see how you really could. I mean, and again, I don't know how the whole Fox deal next fall, how that necessarily plays into. I mean, in a way, Fox might like it because again, we've all we've talked about and we'll continue to talk about Fox and USA. Are they going to start to get jealous of who has who? I don't know, but I don't see how you can end the brand split. I mean, it's one thing to have McMahon's controlling both shows, which is really how it is, anyways. But I don't really know how you can combine rosters again and let that be effective.
Yeah. So the Usos out in the ring talking about, even though things are changing, one thing remains the same. And that's the Usos run this show. Talk about not getting pinned at TLC in the triple threat match. And they call out the Bar, but are interrupted by Gallows and Anderson, who come out and a little self-deprecating in their promo about how they haven't been on TV since August. They count the number of months, 4 months. And they're one of the best tag teams in the past decade, and they've been on the sidelines, but no more. It's time for them to clean house. Starting with a match between the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson. Justin, what'd you think of this?
Match-wise, it was good. I mean, you're not going to go wrong with these four guys. Again, as we break the wall, which is what we're doing this whole thing here. I mean, we think about, okay, so again, part of this initiative, we send we send Gallows and Anderson out there, and we have them identify the fact that they haven't been used on TV in 4 months, and how great they once were in terms of one of the hottest tag teams in the world. It's just, again, so Vince and everybody knowingly had them go out and say that, having to basically admit their mistake, admit their lack of using them, and again, the true measurement. Let me see in 2 months, are we still getting a fresh rotation of using everybody, or is by the time we're at Rumble, are we back to the old ways? I don't know, but again, good match.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, Nick, how do you think they're gonna pull this off and keep it going? That they're just literally gonna be like each week, like, hey, you were on TV last week, maybe this week we give someone else a shot and really try and balance this?
It's weird, right? I mean, again, this is the battered can of soup, metaphor. I mean, these guys, like they said, they haven't been on TV since August. I think for the hardcore fans, yeah, they're excited to see Gallows and Anderson back. Maybe this is a bit of WWE trying to curry favor with that crew of guys as it is, because it doesn't seem like they're too happy. If you watch the latest BTE episode, Being the Elite, they straight up called out WWE's treatment of the tag division on that latest episode. I want to think that these guys are going to shine and stand out, but I gotta, in my head, it's like, how does the casual fan think about this? They haven't seen these guys since August. Tyler Breeze is non-existent. Right? The Revival are bad guys, but now you're supposed to like them. It seems a little confusing to me. I get that you're playing to your base in some ways, like your most ardent people that are buying shirts and things like that. But at the same time, to the casual viewer, it seems like it could be a bit jarring.
Yeah. No, and I think they have to find a way to keep the tag team seem fresher, because case in point, after having this match get going, out comes the Bar to interrupt it. Out comes Sanity to interrupt. It's like, oh, hey, the same people we've been seeing every week.
Sanity is not the same people every week. Yeah, Sanity we haven't seen in a while here. I would put them back on the shelf of battered cans of soup as well.
Didn't they do a run-in? Or no, I'm thinking maybe the Survivor Series match. But they've been on TV a little bit more.
Not really. Not much
really?
more than Gallows and Anderson, no.
No, not at all. Yeah, these guys have been largely overlooked. And, I mean, even since their debut, you haven't seen them. I can't, other than that United We Purge line on SmackDown, which is like the highlight of their run for me.
That's the highlight.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't done anything else, right?
Plus, Killian Dane covered up his weird shoulder hair, I think.
I think the last time we saw Sanity prior to this was, didn't they walk out with Nikki Cross, and then Nikki Cross finished her match and they went to the back?
That is correct. I believe you are correct in that. So yeah, I mean, Sanity here again, it's like, to the casual fan, do they even know what's going on here? I mean, I guess that's what Sanity should have debuted like anyway. And to the hardcore fan, I feel like they're a little disillusioned here to Sanity. So again, I guess if we're resetting the table here, it's going to take a little time to get used to this. But I will note, if you notice, the Bar last week on the show, my biggest takeaway from the rap battle was the Bar looks fly in tracksuits, and they should keep the tracksuits. And guess what? They did. And I 100% approve. I think this is great. I thought the Bar looked fly and tough in their Goomba tracksuits. And
yeah, Cesaro looks like a Ukrainian mobster.
Yes, I agree. You know what? They should be running guns. They should be running illegal arms. I would believe that. Let's get real. Jeff Hardy, you have a substance abuse issue. The Bar, you are running guns and other weaponry. These are stakes, people.
Let's finish up this match. We got to go get to a gun deal.
Justin, you know you love it, actually. Like, you're kind of sitting there and you're like, in my head,
Because I could see Sheamus and Cesaro and them taking, like, they would run with stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. It's like, what's in the case? You guys got a big wooden crate behind you. What's in the crate? And they're like, none of your business. We got a tag match to get to. They put it in a room.
They're doing a deal with Razor Ramon, and then Jeff Hardy shows up to buy some cocaine.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna do another Saudi show. The Bar has to come for.
Oh, good Lord. So that match ended in chaos. No contest.
They like fight somebody to the back parking lot and just shove them in the trunk of their car and drive off.
Yes, they should be legitimate, like, murderous gangsters. Like, I love the Euro mobsters is a great descriptive of them. Yes.
What is it? Hooligans? Is that the name of
hooligans?
Oh.
That's like more like the soccer fans. Right?
Yes, soccer fans who fight.
I want it so bad. Maybe it'd be a better WWE Studios film. We should call up James Nunn and be like, hey, what if the Bar ran guns?
That's the Marine 7.
There you go.
Oh, they'd be such good villains in the Marine 7. Oh, such good villains.
And then who's the new good guy in the Marine now? Now that
they don't have one yet.
Maybe it's Jeff Hardy and he's overcoming a troubled past. He's trying not to revert back to.
Oh, maybe he got kicked out of the Marines.
Yes.
Oh, that's believable too. Yeah. Such a great idea. Such good idea. Good idea. That's all I can say. Fella.
Speaking of good ideas, Shinsuke Nakamura backstage showing the footage from Total Divas with Rusev. Just letting Rusev's charm wash over you. Building up to their match for the U.S. Championship on Christmas Day. After that, let's see, backstage, Mustafa Ali and AJ Styles were backstage talking about their tag team match in the main event against Daniel Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas. Then we saw some announcements of matches for next week. Promo for Tribute to the Troops, the New Day look back at the year, airing this week on the USA Network. And then out to the ring comes WWE champion Daniel Bryan. Says he killed the Yes Movement, and on Sunday at TLC, he destroyed the house that AJ Styles built. He's not about destruction, he's about creation. A new world order on SmackDown. And people fear change. Oh, and then Fresno, the number one worst polluters in the state of California. I enjoyed that. Out comes Almas, and then AJ Styles and Mustafa Ali wearing the light up gear, looking like $1 million.
Yeah. This was a match. He should come out looking like that. Yeah, he was great here. I thought Bryan was great too. I mean, Bryan has really found his voice here. And what an opportunity for Mustafa Ali. I mean, I didn't know where they were going to go with him after last week. I had heard reports that Daniel Bryan was going to maybe go up against different cruiserweights each week in an attempt to maybe rebuild that division up a bit. But no, I mean, it definitively looks like the reason they did this was they're getting behind Mustafa Ali. This isn't about getting behind the 205 Live. This is about getting behind Mustafa Ali. And that is I mean, they say that out loud. If you think back to, I think it's 2.5 years ago, this guy was an alternate to the Cruiserweight Classic. Alternate. He didn't even make the 32. Somebody had to go down with injury, I think, for him to even be able to compete. This guy is the real story here. And I'm ecstatic. I didn't think they'd do it, but what a great opportunity for him to get to do this here.
And they announced he's on the SmackDown roster permanently now.
Good.
So,
yeah.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Justin, what'd you think of this match?
Oh, it was a great match. It was fun. You know, I like the dynamic of you have the two kind of up and comers in Mustafa Ali and Almas versus the two established vets in Styles and Bryan, and that's who they're building to the hot tag for. You know, to Nick's point, I mean, to be fair, that might have been the plan as of last Tuesday. Was just okay, Mustafa Ali. This is just his week, and we are going to have a buffet line of 205 Live guys that are going to work Daniel Bryan. But then, of course, whenever they decided to do this panic button of, you know, we got to shake things up, they might have said, well, let's go with what's one of the bright spots of our programming, which was the people's surprise and enjoyment of Mustafa Ali being put in the spot. Yeah, I mean, it was exciting. This is, I mean, really, you look at who the big winners, who the big losers out of all of this shakeup change. You could say Paige is one of the big losers. She's getting potentially removed from what she did good at, and maybe the biggest winner is the 205 Live brand actually just getting a rub out of all this.
It's funny you mentioned that. Now I think about the buffet line of cruiserweights, and that seems like a Vince idea, like Spinal Tap and Stonehenge. We'll just get some littler guys to make Daniel look bigger. You know,
I get that reference, and that's hilarious. But they didn't intend to have tiny Stonehenge. They wanted a big Stonehenge.
That's why they had the dwarves dancing around it to make the little Stonehenge look bigger.
Yes, yes. Another discussion for another day. I've seen Spinal Tap too many times. Mustafa Ali pinned Daniel Bryan here, right? And
yes,
that's huge. I mean, Ali just pinned the world champion
after knocking Daniel Bryan in the face with his knee.
Yeah, he did. But look, Ali pinned Daniel Bryan here, and in my head, I wonder where you're going with this, and maybe I'm going to sound crazy here saying this, and I probably will, but you got to win over the world champion, hot underdog babyface. Is this guy a dark horse for the Rumble?
Maybe.
I guess we got a month here or so, but Ali as a Rumble winner would be unexpected. The fans are obviously behind him. He's credible. He's pinned the world champion. It came to me and I was like, it's plausible, but I don't know if it's possible.
I think you could put a realistic, bet on him maybe being a dark horse for to be one of the surprising guys of the Final Four, Final Six. But I mean, think about what you're really talking about here. I mean, okay, so a dark horse, he wins the Rumble. So what his matches against Daniel Bryan at Mania, a match that we just got here on SmackDown. Granted, it'll be whole different stakes. It'd be a build. There'd be story behind it. I get all that, but maybe keep Mustafa Ali. I mean, he's just got on the SmackDown roster now. I mean, let him stay on the Raw or SmackDown roster for the next year. And if he continues to seem like he's rising and has bright spots and big wins, maybe Rumble of 2020, I could say, oh, maybe he's a guy who's burst on the scene for them. But I mean, this year, he's one of those surprise guys I could see, again, down to the Final Four, Final Six. And, there's always that one underdog they let come to the end just to kind of keep the crowd in a little bit of suspense. But
yeah, in my head, I was thinking the same as you, where I could see him in that Final Four, maybe even Final Two. But then it's like, well, if he's going to go, if they positioned him well enough to be credible in that space, I don't know. I mean, it's like him, Drew McIntyre, maybe Miz,
Elias.
But I feel Ali's hotter than Elias right now. Elias was just on the kickoff show, taking a goddamn, excuse my language, guitar from a hook. I think Ali's I think he's a notch above Elias here right now. I think, considering the way that Drew's been pinned and is kind of, it
depends on what happens in the next 4 weeks. Well, ask me when we're a Wednesday in front of Royal Rumble Sunday, and I'll let you. It depends on what happens. I mean, again, in 2 weeks from now, Mustafa Ali might not be on SmackDown at all, not even with a promo or nothing, and then all of a sudden we're gonna go, what the hell? So I mean, let's see what 4 weeks holds.
They booked him super strong here tonight.
I agree, but let's see if they stay consistent. So ask me again in 4 weeks.
And I think part of it's fan service, not to take anything away from Mustafa, but part of it's they looked at the reaction you got last week. Okay, we're going to listen to the fans now. Hey, that guy you really liked last week, he's on the main roster, and he just pinned Daniel Bryan.
I mean, Nick, you said it yourself last week. I mean, you said it respectfully to a guy that you've worked with. I mean, okay, again, let's give him the next year to continue to rise. But I mean, in a month, are we going to declare him verbally ready to talk people into the building for a Mania title match?
Daniel Bryan was not verbally ready when he was given the title. He's verbally ready now, right? And that's what I'm saying. And Glenn's right. They saw the reaction. They say, yes, we're getting behind the fans. We're going to give you what you want. You like this guy? He went out there. He delivered again. He pinned the world champion. Where do you go from there? And is a Rumble win where you go? I don't know.
Well, if that sort of logic is true, then Sami Zayn is coming back and he's going to strip the title from Brock Lesnar. And I could not be happier about that idea.
Yeah, I don't know that they'd go that far, but I think
I thought the fans were in charge now.
Well, people do like Daniel Bryan's champion. Sami Zayn's got a hot return. The women are putting on the best matches ever. Seems like not going to Crown Jewel is probably the best choice. Oh yeah, John Cena's going to be in a Bumblebee movie this weekend.
It's getting really good reviews.
Dude, it's like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
I might actually go see it.
Takes place in the 80s. I'm kind of curious.
Ditto. But yeah, I do. It's like, where do you go from here? You just had the guy pin the world champion. I mean, I could see him spinning off and having some credible matches with some other top talent on SmackDown, with the announcers reminding everyone this guy's pinned WWE champion Daniel Bryan. Seems like a nice launch pad to whatever they're going to do next.
I enjoyed Corey Graves reading off some environmental tips during this match last night.
Good. Yeah, it's good. Well, teach the children to hate recycling.
I mean, it's weird though, right? We talked about this when it started, because on one hand, I'm like, he's saying things that I say. Like, it's like he just looked at my Facebook feed, or like the vegan subreddit, like just going straight off. But I was like, oh yeah, but they think this is something to poke fun at and mock.
I want to see him cut an angry promo where he's physically cutting up them 6-pack plastic rings that you get on Coca-Cola. He's like upset. He's chopping them. He put them in a pile, saving the fishes and the ducks.
Carrying around. What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Daniel carrying around a bag with his own feces that he's going to take home and fertilize his garden.
Compost.
Yes.
I feel bad because I'm especially, I think, compared to Glenn and maybe you, Nick, I am nowhere near as environmentally conscious or care. So I feel bad when I watch this, because part of me does laugh and part of me does go, I'm not supposed to be laughing, I don't think, but I am laughing here. I don't know. I'm admitting I don't take the environment as serious as I should.
And my big takeaway from SmackDown was, like, SmackDown maintained being good, and if anything, like, Vince came in and like seemed to want to play in the sandbox with those guys. It was very different, I thought, than Raw. Raw like opened with the McMahons doing their McMahon thing, but then on SmackDown they were more like cast members. They felt like they were a part of the show in a way, and I just thought it was a very. I mean, if I'm going to get SmackDown now with hilarious Vince backstage vignettes mixed in, and Ali on top, that's a win. I got no issues here from New SmackDown. New SmackDown's like old SmackDown, but with more syrup or something.
Yes, and Mustafa Ali won with the 054 on Daniel Bryan for the pin to win. Final thoughts on the new era of SmackDown Live. Climate change denier Justin LaBar, what say you?
I guess it wasn't a bad show. Again, a lot of questions. I'm going to reserve a lot of the harsh judgment for, like I said, we got to see big picture. I want to see, give it 2 months. So let me see where we're at in February. If it really feels like they have tried consistently to better things.
It was kind of the thing, though, back to the point about the conspiracy. SmackDown more or less just sort of did what SmackDown does, and it was good. Kind of like, when I tricked my friend into going to Toastmasters, I won speech of the night. Take that for, I need to work on my public speaking skills. SmackDown pulled the wool over Vince's eyes, and Raw will be the better for it. What else is going on in the world of professional wrestling, Nick Hausman?
We do have a spoiler we're going to get to about SmackDown Live here. So in a couple minutes here, if you don't want to have a spoiler for next week revealed, you might want to take your headphones off. But we do have a couple news things we'll touch on here. RVD fueling speculation that he may be returning to action here. Fan tweeted that he hadn't heard about RVD in forever, and RVD responded, "You will soon." I don't know if that means that he's coming back to WWE or going to guest on a Snoop Dogg album. I'm not sure what that means. But RVD, is there a market for RVD, Justin?
I don't know if there is in WWE, and I like RVD. I don't know anybody who doesn't, but I mean, I feel like we've done the whole bring him back around Rumble time several times before. And again, they again, as they're bringing NXT people in, the WWE roster is plenty full. I do think there's a market for an RVD in terms of regular consistency. If there is a new promotion starting up and you're looking to have somebody who's not going to be the most expensive, who's got a lot of credibility and who is a draw whenever he does make appearances.
He's what 10K on the indies to get RVD? Is that bad if I'm giving out numbers for like how much they're booking? But like that's not cheap.
Cheaper than Ray was.
Yeah, much cheaper than Ray. But my point being is, like, he's not like, it's not like getting a CM Punk or something. you know, I mean, you can get RVD for whatever price you get him for, and if you have him, he's a draw. He's somebody we haven't seen on American television in a couple of years. But everybody loves the whole gimmick. I'm just, you know, so that's in my mind where I would peg him, is if somebody's trying to start something new and get some new attention.
Mm-hmm.
As a supporting role. I'm not saying make him your champion.
Well, Glenn, do you want to see RVD back in WWE?
I like RVD, but I don't know how much legs that would have in the WWE.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Raw, by the way, as much as we didn't feel it ourselves in some regards, was up significantly, 16% increase in average viewership. It was their best, most viewed show since the pre-Evolution Raw on October 22nd. Could just be a blip, right? It seems like largely folks just turned in for the McMahons, but I guess we can follow that one. WWE polls. WWE's got a poll up asking if superstars should get their automatic title rematches. 65% say that maybe they shouldn't. That is an antiquated idea. This is actually fairly controversial to me. Glenn, do you think that superstars should be getting their automatic title rematches?
I think it's kind of hokey, right? I mean, when we talk about the problem that we see the same match again and again and again, and the automatic title rematch, unless there's a gap, it normally doesn't reverse the decision. I don't know. It just seems it's filler.
Well, I mean, Justin, you brought up the Fox Sports deal. This is more UFC oriented, right? In UFC, you're not guaranteed an automatic title rematch, right?
Yeah, they should do away with this. This perpetuates the problems of which that they're now trying to say that they're going to move past from, which is the formula of this person loses. Okay, now we know they got to have a rematch. And it's dumb. Let's not. I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. So you either go all the way with the imaginary rule book, which is a champion has to defend every 30 days, Brock Lesnar. You either go all the way and you create a rule book, a physical one that people can buy on WWE Shop. You either create a rule book,
They have
go
one.
buy it. Yes, there is that book exists.
All right, well then you either go buy it and then you can honor the whole rematch thing, or you do the hell away with it because it's a freaking entertainment show. You don't need to have this damn thing that's an inconvenience in the booking, quite frankly. So do away with it.
Man, I kind of I don't know. I disagree a little bit. You make a lot of really good points too, so I don't want to disagree too hard. But for me, it takes away part of the what makes the belt credible and the desire to have the title. You know, I think it helps to tell that story in some ways. I mean, I get all those other points as well about cornering yourself in booking wise, but from this is a real sport perspective, rules like this make me feel like there is some structure and some reality to it. If you get rid of that, it's just it can become chaos. I don't know.
I would agree if they honored all the rules. And the other big rule that used to be a big thing, which is a champion has to defend every 30 days, and they would use that when they needed to use it. But now that the most obvious, blatant disregard of that is Brock Lesnar for the last 3 years, it then makes the whole, well, why the hell are we honoring you have to have a rematch then?
Fair. Glenn, any other thoughts on the automatic title? Have you been swayed either way here by these opinions?
I get it, but if it never results in anything of interest or note, I don't know. I want more new, more different. I don't want to keep seeing the same matches again and again, and this is a great way to cut one of those matches that we see repeated.
And lastly, here on the news side of things, before we get to the big SmackDown spoiler for next week, Bray Wyatt, more cryptic messages saying goodbye. We did talk about this last week, I believe. More of the same. I don't really feel like Bray is leaving WWE. Justin, do you get that vibe?
No, I don't. I mean, again, it's the more riddle and rhyme, which I talked about. I'll say this though: if Bray Wyatt's character wasn't based around all this empty riddle and rhyme, I would read these tweets and actually get concerned, like a Pete Davidson kind of thing. Like, what the hell is he talking about? Is he okay?
Everybody, yeah.
But luckily, his character kind of fits this whole stuff. So if you just read it in his character, but if his character wasn't, or if his Twitter was normally reserved for the man, for Wyndham Rotunda to talk, then I'd be worried when I read these tweets. But his Twitter has always been in character, so I don't know what you think about it.
Glenn, how about you? Are you swayed to think that Bray could be doing something meaningful, or is this more of the same?
I think, when stars have nowhere else to go creatively, they go to social media.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a space metaphor, but no, you're right. It's when stars go nowhere, when stars have nowhere left to go, they become black holes.
Well, on TV they do. That's why social media is their time to shine.
I guess that metaphor works too. That's funny.
No, I think he's trying to stoke some interest, right? Because if the fans forgot about Bray. Yes, if fans forget about Bray, then that's the worst thing that could happen. He has to have people wondering, what's this crazy MF going to do next?
And lastly here, I don't know, Glenn, do you want to spoil everybody what's going to happen next week on SmackDown? Should we tell everybody? It's like puppy dog ears. What did they say?
Well, before we say that, because I know people are tuning in and people are going to want to hear this before they tune out. Nick didn't watch the Henry Winkler turns professional wrestler movie, the one and only.
No,
Let's talk about it on this podcast.
I got too busy. I watched Final Battle. I had to watch TLC. I had to drink. And then, I'll have it next week or soon. We got to do it with Winkler, though. I feel like we can talk about it, but it's going to be more with Henry Winkler.
Winkler on the Winkley. Make it happen.
Yeah, I would love that.
Absolutely. Okay, spoiler. SmackDown, Christmas. Rusev is your new United States champion.
Good. Yeah. Right? This is a
Yeah.
good Christmas surprise for everybody. And it'll probably help people tune in to actually watch Rusev win because they like Rusev. It's a good call. Smart.
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful. Any other thought? It was like, announcement. Thoughts? Good. Wonderful.
No, overdue. Aiden should show up the next week. And again, Paul Costanza, they never broke up. He should show up singing and just acting like, been there this whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the end of the show. I have an announcement to make here before we wrap it up, and I'll do my plug here for the Winkley. We are going to be changing things up a bit at the top of the year. And for those of you that like the SmackDown review, because I know that the Raw review does really well, you're going to be able to now tune in and watch Glenn and watch Matt Morgan and watch Raj Giri immediately after SmackDown and have that discussion as you would do the Raw reviews at the top of the year. And on top of that, for those of you that like tuning in at noon Eastern and hearing about news of the day, the Winkley is going to be expanding Tuesday through Thursday. I will be here live. Justin will join me on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I'll have Michael Weissman from Between the Ropes on Tuesdays. And you're going to get a lot more quality punditry audio content going into the new year. And then Glenn and I will get back together for specials where we talk movies and things like that. And yeah, that's it. I'm pretty excited. I used to do a show. There was a daily wrestling show. It was like Monday through Friday for an hour, and it almost made me lose my mind. So I think Tuesday through Thursday is it's going to be fun. I think that's the right workload. I'm very excited about it. I love talking with Justin. I love talking with Michael. I love talking with all of you. And as part of the Winkley, you're going to get a lot more interviews. I have interviews in the can that I haven't released, and they're piling up right now. So hopefully with more daily wrestling punditry, I'll be able to get more of these interviews out, and you get more exclusive content on the Wrestling Inc. website. So there you go. Good news. You excited, Glenn?
I sold my soul to Wrestling Inc. It's man, gonna love those weeks where it's Saturday TakeOver, Sunday pay-per-view, Monday Raw, Tuesday SmackDown.
Yeah, but you're West Coast, so like SmackDown's done at 7:00 for you.
Believe me, this is the justification I gave my wife when I was like Tuesday nights. I was like, I'll be done early. We'll still have an evening.
Yeah, and getting up early sucks on Wednesday. I'll be honest. But with that said, the interviews and stuff, we've just been getting a great response from all of these. There was an interview I wanted to do last week on the precipice of TLC, and it was with Bubba Ray Dudley, who hosts Busted Open Radio, because I was like, I want to get people from TLC, and I got a hold of Bubba. He called me from an unknown number, and he told me he wanted to talk Final Battle after it was over. And if you watch Final Battle, him and Flip Gordon just beat the holy hell out of each other and had a great match. Yesterday, I get the call from an unknown number again, and it's Bubba, and he's ready to talk. And he wouldn't give me a number or any other way to connect, so I had to record that phone call. So tomorrow on the Winkley, you're going to get a 1-hour phone conversation with Bubba and I, where he is frank. He drops his guard. We talk in-ring psychology. We talk booking. We talk his plans for Ring of Honor going into 2019. And we talk the art of being offensive. And that sounds very scholarly, and it kind of is the way it plays out. So I hope you guys tune in and you really like that. I'll also have Jeff Cobb, Ring of Honor TV champion, on tomorrow. But the Bubba 1 hour discussion will be the bulk of our interviews tomorrow on the Winkley. I'm very, very excited to release this one. It's great.
I love that he doesn't want you to have his phone number.
He wouldn't. He told me that he I only give my number to my mother and my family. Like, it was something like that. And it was bizarre. It was very surreal. He talks about the business a lot on Busted Open Radio, but he doesn't talk about himself and his opinions of himself and the opinions of his own in-ring psychology and work. And we get into it. And I'm just very proud of it. And I hope you guys all check it out. It's a great talk.
Cool. Look forward to that. Justin LaBar, what do you want to plug before we take this home here?
Wrestling Reality, my podcast. Some of these topics we talk about, I touch on there, but go deeper in some other things, answer your questions specifically. Wrestling Reality every Thursday morning. Get it on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music. Wrestling Reality presented by Ticket King. There you go. Have happy holidays to everybody.
Yes.
Awesome. Hope everyone has a good holiday. Enjoy it. We'll see you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.